few bits and bobs over the years, like a few different documentaries, but never one that's really been a prolonged insight into the camp. And I think they were filming for about a year and a half, maybe.
Slightly more.
Yeah, slightly longer than that. And it's been in the edit for a while. At one stage of the documentary, Lawrence Okoli was in the gym and he was training with Chris, and at the end of it, they're boxing each other, and you couldn't script it, but that just shows you what boxing's all about.
A boxing stable is exactly as it sounds. Instead of a stable of horses, you've got a stable of prize fighters.
Underneath as well. Boxers used to be seen as not meat, but they were the lower end of the food chain, as it were. But now it's boxers hold the power. We're trying to push the athletes as much as we can as well within it, and
within the realms of their capability. Each fighter has a different limit.
Male boxing is very brutal. You'll see it in the documentary. There's lots of blood and sweat and
guts and thunder, yeah.
Exactly, and heavy shots. Whereas it's more of a sport and a bit more of a skill with the female side of things. And Caroline and Ellie, they'll both glam up their outfits and stuff like that. And I think it's a real nice side to it. A lot of damage can be done in training in the gym. We spar twice a week. Dad used to spar 5 days a week.
Every day.
You might do 6 rounds, 8 rounds, and then you might do 12.
I've never done anything but flat out.
Yeah, you'd have sparred for 3 weeks, whereas now we might spar over 8 weeks. We're always advancing and always trying to improve our way of training these fighters and sort of refining the process over and over again. So
you're always learning. Yeah. You're always learning. You're always trying to improve, and you're always trying to safeguard the fighter. And there comes a time when a guy can't do the weight anymore. We say, right, we're going to move up to the next weight, and it depends what age they are, and if they're growing, or if they're the back end of their career or the beginning of their career, or right in the middle or whatever. These decisions have to be made, but that's the responsibility for a coach is pretty enormous, and we don't shy away from that. We take that on very seriously. It's a very tough business, and it's a very serious business. It's the most incredible business. It's so enthralling, it's exciting, and you live and breathe it, and that's what so much of this documentary shows. It shows just what you go through. Only a small bit, but still it shows what
the highs and the lows.
The highs and the lows, and the difficulties, and how brutal it can be. The problem with so many of these influencers boxing is that general public think anybody can do it. They can't do it. They can't do it. And that's what annoys the actual professional fighters about these influencers.
The other side of it is the Jake Pauls and
even he trains very hard.
He trains very hard. So
Wildcard gym in Los Angeles with Freddie Roach.
Yeah, he's put in the hours, and and that's, you've got to commend that. But the way they do it, they're trying to steal headlines in the sense okay, let's bring in a 58-year-old Mike Tyson to sort of launch their promotion. It's a good side because it's bringing in a different audience, but how many of those people are actually going to stick on and want to watch?
It's so different when you look at the life that these guys live to the life of a fighter, the real fighter, and that's why this documentary is such a great. It gives you a snippet, but it shows you how they live and how they work.
It probably won't be for those kids that this documentary is not for them kids. It's for the real, the real hard-working person that understands what it's like to go through trials and tribulations. Like those kids are living. Jake Paul's not going to put on he's not going to put in his YouTube channel where he spars bad or where he feels crap and he's upset and he's crying or. He's frustrated because he's whatever, he's getting sick or something like that. He's only putting on the good days, and that's the whole point. Is we're living in 2024, and unfortunately, kids just want to see glitz and glamour, and they just want to see gossip and all of that crap.
Tyson was one of my favourite heavyweights of all time. The governing body that actually sanctions him should be seriously badly reprimanded for that. Letting a 58-year-old guy into box, that's just stupid. If it's for real, which I very much doubt, in the first 3 rounds Tyson is going to be very dangerous, but then after that he's 58 years old.
You don't know what power he can generate at this age. dad can generate, he can generate a lot of power, but whether it's transferable into fighting, because you're boxing a moving target, and when you get a bit older, you lack that ability, that fast twitch muscle fibers to really pounce. And something like Mike Tyson spent his whole career doing was just he'd transition from long to short, and he'd hit you with 4 or 5 shots. And the weight in his shots were just so devastating. And does he still have that? Probably not.
That would be very.
And then you think to yourself like, what? But Jake Paul's not anywhere near his level. And if it's someone with his skill set, he should be able to just jump back and make him miss for a few rounds. But
stay out of the way.
I have a feeling that if it's going to be more of an exhibition than a full-on contest.
Chin grafts really hard, and I'm very proud of what he does. He takes everybody on the pads. He takes, he doesn't sit on the side of the ring and advise or shout at somebody else and say, oh no, you're not doing it right. He actually does it. He's been doing that for 13 years, so he's exceptionally good at what he does. That shows, and he doesn't. He didn't beat his chest and show off. He's just a grafter, and he gets results because he works exceptionally hard with all of his fighters, and that's how you get results. You just work hard, and you need that to be combined with skill and talent. And what's more, his background on strength and conditioning, he understands physique and what it takes from a cardiovascular point of view and effort. So he's really good at teaching technique. It's repetition, it's over and over and over again.
Yeah, you get better over the years. I mean, the way Dad fought was on your chest. He'd very brave, got a good chin, good punching power, and like good ability to. A lot of boxers will step back, and he had the courage to slip into shots, and that used to swarm people and put people under an enormous amount of pressure, and he'd break their will. I've learned how to coach from my dad, and Dad's brother. God rest him as well. He was a phenomenal coach as well. So, boxing's been in our bloodline for a long time, and I believe, I didn't turn professional, but going through the amateur system, putting myself inspiring the best kids in the country, you have to do that because you have to feel what it's like to be exhausted and get clipped round the head. And this is a sport where you're shattered, but you're not running up and down a football pitch passing the ball and you miss it. The difference is when you miss it, you get hit with a hard shot and a clean shot on the chin. And it's
and
the
then
biggest,
another one.
The more you fall apart when you're fatigued, the bigger the beating. You have to go and experience that, because if you don't experience it, you don't know what someone feels like. This is what this documentary is trying to showcase: is this sport's a real hard sport,
Very
and
tough.
you can't fake it. You can't just suddenly get to a world title. You can't just turn up one day without no training. You've got to put the hours in, you've got to put the work in, and it's a brutal sport.